Welcome back to Legends with Derka, where today we will break down the 12 new Tier 8 tech tree ships coming to the game to help you start preparing. Without wasting any time, let's get into it. Alright, so we finally officially have the 12 tech tree ships that are going to be coming to the game, and they will be here at the start of the next update in about a week and a half. So let's begin with the American line, and then we'll go through the other nations. Keep in mind in this video, I am mainly pulling stats and information from the PC version of the game, minus a few tidbits of information the community managers have given to us. The American battleship is going to be the USS Maine. This battleship will follow the Iowa and precede the Montana. It's a Legends exclusive. It's not found in the PC version of the game. It's a Montana hull with a 2-3-3-2 turret configuration, so it has 2 guns less than the Montana, 1 more than the Iowa. She's a bit faster than Montana with less health points. She has less frontal firepower than Iowa, but a better broadside and better armor protection, so that will be an interesting battleship to see right off the bat. The new American cruiser at Tier 8 following Baltimore will be the Buffalo. She will have 12 203mm guns and a 12-second reload, so a little more firepower than Balti. I would assume the armor is about the same 27mm that we're used to on the other American heavy cruisers. She's going to have a big HP pool, around 47,000, great AA, and a radar. She's going to be an awesome support cruiser, just like her sister ships. That brings us to the M Sumner. This is going to be an American gunboat following the Fletcher class and preceding Gearing. She's going to look more like a Gearing though, with the 652mm guns in a similar configuration. Slow but long-range torpedoes. This will be a good jack-of-all-trades destroyers that the American gunboats are known for. On to the IJN, Izumo will follow Amagi at Tier 8 and precede the Yamato class battleships. She sports 9 410mm guns on the front of the ship, kind of like the Nelson and the Lennon setup. Just under 80,000 HP, good AP velocity for long-range shooting, but 1 less gun than her predecessor Amagi, and she's absolutely massive, bigger than the Yamato. I am curious what state she will come to Legends in. On PC, before some of the big buffs she got, she was considered a really terrible Tier 9 battleship, so again, we'll see what version we get in our game. Ibuki is next and will follow the Megami and precede the Zhao, eventually a legendary tier. She will feature a 13-second base reload and longer range than Mogami. Rear-facing 10km torpedoes with high alpha and fantastic 203mm HE shells that the IJN are known for. She's a little beefier than her predecessor, but still has a large citadel and, like most IJN ships, can be slapped if broadside. Yugumo will follow Kagero on the tech tree and be a minor improvement over that boat, but the big takeaway here that I saw is a much faster reload of the main battery guns. Not American-esque, and she has a low HP pool that would take away from her being a gunboater, but it will give her more options, that's for sure. On PC, she also has the options for the F3 torpedoes, or the ones that we like to call screamer torpedoes over here in our game. They are blazing fast with the cost of a shorter range. Also, like the Kagero, I'm guessing, I didn't hear back on this, but she might have the option to drop smoke screens for a torpedo reload booster. We'll have to wait and see on that. Straight to the Germans, the Friedrich Der Gross will follow the Bismarck and feature 8 406mm guns with the option to upgrade them to 420s, just like the Grosser Kurfürst. 84,000 health. 12 150mm guns and 16 105s. That's a pretty big secondary armament there, double the amount of 105s that Bismarck have, and they will be long range, of course. Now the 105s might not pin a lot at the higher tiers, Tier 8 and Legendary, but they can set a lot of fires. FDG will have turtleback armor hydroacoustic search and an 80mm deck. She will be a pretty tanky brawler. Roon will follow Hipper and feature 9 203s, however, it's configured more like a Commerce Raider with most of the firepower at the back of the ship, so think Nuremberg except with 203s. She will only have 8 torpedoes, 4 on each side, as opposed to Hipper and Prince Eugen's 12, so not as good of a brawler as her predecessors. In fact, with the turret setup and those torpedoes, she will be much worse at rushing and brawling, and you would have to choose your brawls more carefully. However, she does have a very large HP pool of nearly 50,000, German hydroacoustic search, turtleback armor, and yeah, she'll be pretty tanky. Z46 will follow the Z23 and precede the eventual Z52. She's going to have a large stock HP pool of almost 20k, 6 128mm German guns with a 4-second base reload. The typical 8 533mm torpedoes we're used to on German destroyers. Take note though that 6 128mm guns, that's one more than the Z23, so that could boost DPM a pretty good amount. She looks to be kind of unwieldy with a big turning circle, weak AA, and German smoke that isn't the best, but these destroyers are usually always well-rounded and can be dangerous in the right hands. The best part of them, German hydroacoustic search. On to the Soviets. The Sovetsky Soyuz will feature 9 406mm guns, just under 90,000 health, typical Soviet damage control parties of which you have a limited amount. 60mm deck will be good against HE spam, and I would presume, like her sister ships, she will have good accuracy sub 11 kilometers and poor accuracy at super long ranges. Always remember with these Russian battleships, do not give up your broadside. The Dmitri Donsky will follow Shapayev at tier 8, and she's going to have 12 180mm guns rather than the 152s of the other light cruisers. 12-second base reload. So this is going to be a similar heavy cruiser gun setup as the Talon found at tier 6. She will have good AA, poor concealment and maneuverability. She will, however, actually get usable torpedoes of around 8 kilometers. Throw in long-range Soviet radar, and this could be a pretty competitive ship. The Delny is the only tier 10 ship I think that I saw coming to Legends at tier 8. All the rest were tier 9s. She is going to follow the Tashkent on this Soviet gunboat line. She's going to have 6 130mm guns, over 22,000 HP stock, and 10 533mm torpedoes that should have sufficient range. Like Tashkent, she will excel at long-range gunboating with her super accurate shells and high velocity. This ship will have a very fast top speed, 43.5 knots based on PC without buffs or a speed boost. And she also looks like she might get the 50mm plating that the Khabarovsk gets. So if she gets that at tier 8, this could be a very, very scary destroyer. So looking at the three classes of ships here, the destroyer, the cruiser, and the battleship, what are my top picks going to be? Well, for the cruiser, I'm going to go with the Buffalo first. I think that is going to be an incredibly strong ship. Like most American heavy cruisers are, really. The radar, the 12 guns, it'll be good. For the battleship, why would anyone not want to play the Maine, a console exclusive? The PC players haven't got to play it, no one's got to see this except Super Tester, so I'm very excited for this battleship, and that would probably be my first pick for the battleships. And finally, for the destroyers, I think I'm going to go with the M Sumner. She looks very strong. I love the American gunboat line. They're very good jack-of-all-trade boats, so that would be my first pick there. Now, there is a frequently asked question section of the dev blog, so let's go ahead and go through that. The big question weighing on everyone's mind right now, I am sure, is how much are these things going to cost? Well, for starters, to unlock a tier 8 ship, you're going to need the tier 7 ship before it, of course, and then 300,000 additional XP. There are ongoing boosts right now to help you with that, and after you have the XP, you can purchase the ship for 25 million silver. Don't forget after that you'll have to put on your 4 modules, which is going to set you back another 5.8 million silver. So over 30 million to get one of these ships in your port up and running. Elite XP is going to count towards the next ship, so if you've been playing the holy heck out of Bismarck and you have 6 million elite XP, which I would say you would have to be nuts to have, that will roll over and you will already have the Friedrich Der Gross unlocked, and all you have to do is buy it for the silver and start playing. Matchmaking going forward is going to feature tier 7, tier 8, and legendary tier. All of them could be in the same match at once because the number of tier 8 ships going into it is going to be pretty low, so That will be a thing for now, and then eventually it'll go to the +1, -1 that we are used to. Weimar, the ship in the background. This will be the last Tier 6 Weimar footage featured on this channel. The ship is just a meme now. Every time you take it out, it's a new video, but we're just going to delete them all and bless it from here. We'll test her out at Tier 7. So she's going up a tier. Curious to see how that's going to work. Other than that, there is no plan to redistribute any premium ships. I know I made a poll about this a couple weeks ago on the channel, but as soon as I made the poll, I basically figured out that Wargaming was not going to be moving any of their premium ships. So thank you for your comments and your likes on that. I appreciate it. Is there a plan to rebalance legendary tier ships and tier 7 ships performance? The answer there is probably not. The plan is just to put tier 8s right in between them so that won't be necessary. Will future early access branches have tier 7 ships available in crates from now on? Probably. Does this make the return of unavailable tier 7 ships more likely, such as Jambar, Lenin, Wichita, and Udachi? The answer: while there are some ships that we don't want to oversaturate the game, others that have gone but haven't been forgotten are likely to make a return. Moving on. Does this mean legendary aircraft carriers are on the horizon? Answer: yes. On the topic of more tiers, are there any plans to introduce super ships? No. Is there a plan to add all full 10 tiers from the PC? Again, no. That would imply adding many lower tier ships to the game that probably wouldn't receive any attention at this point. So there you have it. 9 tiers with legendary tier is going to max it out. Overall, I am curious, what ships are you most excited about for this update? Do you like the tech tree expansion, or do you think it could have been implemented in another way? Personally, I love it. We're just getting so much content added to the game right now, and it's maybe for the more experienced players at this point, you know, it's expensive to get into it. It's a lot of XP. It's a big time commitment. But again, this sort of late game content is important for the player base, especially the ones that play quite a bit. You need to have rewards, there needs to be a grind, there needs to be something else to do, and again, like I've already mentioned, I think it's going to balance the discrepancy between tier 7 and the very powerful legendary ships. With that, guys, I would appreciate it if you would smash the thumbs up button. It would help the channel out greatly. Be sure to subscribe for future videos. Lots of videos headed your way, and I will catch you guys in the next one. See ya.